Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of The Talk Space, where we keep it real, raw, and relevant. I'm your host, Kiara, and today's topic might shake a few tables. We're talking culture, or more specifically, how the new generation is slowly drifting away from it. Are we evolving, or are we just forgetting where we come from? Let's vibe into it. Alright, first up, globalization. Social media, movies, Netflix, K-pop, fast fashion. We're all eating it up, but at what cost?
Hi everyone, my name is Rosadine. Globalization is a term used to describe how the West has influence on African cultures. If I were to put a group of Africans and a group of, for example, Americans in one room, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference because of the way we dress, look, and even speak.
Hi everyone, my name is Steven Indongo, and I just want to emphasize on what Rose said. You use the word West. I don't feel like whenever you use the word West, you're only talking about one continent only. But if you look at us, like most of us, especially African people, most of us were colonized by the European countries. Even the way we dress, we talk, and everything we do. So then we are Generation Z, if you know what I'm talking about. So when it comes to us, so everything that we must to stay relevant and be on the map, we must just go with the European countries. At the end of the day, even the English we are doing, the courses and everything, it comes from them. Yeah, that's always.
Yes, I understand what you're trying to say. You spoke about the West colonizing us, or the foreign countries colonizing Africa.
Europe
in particular.
Yes.
But what you have to understand is that was past tense. And when they were colonizing us, they didn't decide for us what we should wear or how we should dress, right? So we were not kept in bondage by the way they were colonizing us and mistreating us. The thing is, they were after our land, right? I don't think they were interested in the way we dress or the way we look. So we had a choice on keeping and holding on to our cultures and our traditions.
Yeah, but look at us right now. Are we not wearing the European clothes right now? Exactly. Look, even everything that we do, the shoes, the everything. So at the end of the day, they were not only after our land. You also adopt things from them, apart from the. If you wanted, if they were not after our land, why didn't you come with your traditional attire now that your ancestors used to wear and all those stuff?
Okay. I feel like there's a negative side and there's a positive side to everything. Even to this apartheid story that happened. I mean, they brought us education, they brought us infrastructure, they brought things, but they also limited us enough so that we wouldn't be able to do these things that we can do today without them. We have our raw materials, but can we manufacture things on our own? Can we stand independent from them?
We can't stand on our own.
Just to bring us back, Western cultures are spreading through globalization, technology, and social media, becoming key tools in driving culture shifts and influencing youth identity daily. In other words, social media is shaping who we are. It's cool, but is it also killing our connection to our roots? For instance, does urban life push the youth further away from their cultures? Say for instance somebody who grew up in a small rural area where culture was an important thing. Would them moving away from their culture and their rural area into the big city, would that affect how close they are to their culture?
Well, what I think is, I don't think it actually does move them away from culture, because culture is supposed to be a part of you. That doesn't mean because you move to a different city or for work purposes and so forth that you forget who you are. Culture is who you are. It's your identity. It describes, not necessarily describes, but it's who you are as a human being, rather. If you are a Vambu, or you are Herero, or you are Damaranama, or you are Khoisan, that is who you are. You needing to move to a to an urban area to find work or so forth doesn't mean that your culture is away from you or anything like that. I can still be in town and decide to wear my traditional attire and still feel happy. That is who I am. That doesn't change anything. But as for maybe changing our clothes and so forth, that's nothing to do with anything. The environment that you are in is what actually requires you to wear a certain outfit. I can't say I'm going to work in an office and I have to wear my cultural attire, no. I'm just saying that in terms where you have to wear certain, all I'm saying is that just because you're in another environment doesn't mean your culture is away from you. You can still go back home, you can still call and speak to your parents in your language. You speak to people in English just because you have to, because it's an official language. But that doesn't take anything away from you. That doesn't.
I feel like urban life push. She did it. I feel like urban life pushes some people away from culture because, for instance, some people, when they come to the city, they even forget how to speak their language, for instance. It's just English Afrikaans. And then most of the time when they go visit maybe at the village, they can't even speak their own language anymore. And also, now, people just spend time watching TV, TikTok videos. They don't even like do family meetings where you sit with your parents and you talk about life and all that.
I beg to differ there because I think it just has everything to do with mentality. It's how you're raised. So actually, like what you're saying right now, moving to the city or anything, it doesn't actually like impact. It just has to do with your mentality. How are you as a person? How are you raised? That's what I believe in.
Looking into this whole thing now, considering the fact that we are different, even though we talk about the Western nations or us African nations, mostly as that the SADC side, we are Bantu speaking, most of us that came from Central Africa, where the Congo is located. We moved because we believed that in our minds first technology existed. We had science before the Europeans come to implement, because if you look at certain things that we used to do, they are modernizing us now. For you to relate to the fact that you want to ask a question of how technology is stealing us, our culture, I'm not really saying that it's stealing our culture, because whatever they are doing, if you look at a certain people that were maybe handers and gatherers, the tools that they used, those tools are just modernized. And then you need to find the difference between the culture and tradition, for the fact that culture falls under tradition. If you are talking about urbanization, that's the movement of people from maybe urban areas or rural areas.
Sorry, I want her to give me.
Talking on the movement of people, before I go to the main issues of focus, we move looking at the way of survival. But if you look at the way we used to do things, even the way of how we go look for food and stuff, we now have these policies that are implemented through the United Nations and stuff that are presenting us to do those things. You cannot anymore be there maybe in the village and then you start killing animals outside, wild animals and stuff to feed your family, because they are protected. There are certain laws that are protecting those things. You might be arrested for that, but then you need to feed your family. You need to go out there and look for opportunities. But if you go to cities, you are still going there as a normal person, not forgetting where you came from. Where you came from, you were raised there. You were raised there, being that you are a Vambo, you were taught your norms and everything. Coming to the city, you can learn new things. But the issue of ignorance also, that's where it comes in, because when you enter the towns, that's where you start now ignoring the fact of where you came from. But it does not necessarily mean that your culture, there are certain things that are stealing your culture, because you are perceiving it, and you really need to to keep it tight and to stick to it. For that now, I think I'll come talk about more after my colleague can maybe say something.
Yeah, just to emphasize on what Tangeni said. Like, we live in the 21st century. So, for what he said, peer pressure has plays the biggest role for it, especially at our teenage life. Peer pressure plays the biggest role. So everything we do in this world right now is according to peer pressure. Like for me, I was born in Oshakadi, but I grew up in the south. So everything related to my culture, until now, I don't even know how to speak my own culture properly because of peer pressure. If you move to a different town, peer pressure, you're adopting the things that the place that you're gonna be settled and all those things. That's all I can say for now.
You must do a roundup.
Just a reflection of what Stephen.
Just to reflect.
Miss, please, your music.
Okay, just to reflect on what Stephen mentioned previously, I myself grew up in a Herero bastard household, but I can't speak Oshero. My mother, when she was younger, my grandfather chose not to how much I say, carry on the language in terms of the culture. So we were far removed from the culture in terms of how we were raised.
Okay. Well, as for me, I'm actually a Bambu, but both my parents are full Bambus. But I was born in Grootfontein, and I was only raised there for a bit when I was a baby. And then I moved to Walvis Bay, and then from Walvis Bay I moved to the north, and then from the north I ended up being in Tsumeb and so forth, and then I went back to the north. So I'm actually a Bambu, and I do speak my language, but growing up I only used to speak Herero, English, and Afrikaans. So that didn't take away from who I am. I'm still a Bambu, and I don't choose to be the other tribes that were around me. I still connected with people and learned their languages, and we spoke and so forth. But now I can speak my language because I was now in the north, and I got to experience how our culture is and how we dress and how we speak and what we eat and so forth. I still haven't taken away from that, and I'm still who I am.
Okay, before stop.
Okay, so like I was saying, I moved back to the north, so I actually know my culture. So therefore, I don't believe in the fact that because you are moving because of a job or anything like that, that your culture is being taken away from you. Nothing is being taken away from you. You're just being ignorant. You are who you are, and you will stay who you are as long as you believe that I'm a Bambu, I'm a Herero, I'm what. You will stick to that, and that's that.
Looking at the movement or where you grew up, and you not be able to identify yourself in terms of what your culture is or what is your tradition, that's why you should ask yourself a question whether your mom is a Bambu or your father is a Bambu, but you do not know Oshibambu, or your mom is a Bambu or your father is a Basa, but you don't know about your culture or your tradition. Now you need to know what you are calling yourself in terms of tradition. If somebody comes and asks you, what is your tradition? Where are you going to relate? Obviously, if your parents are Bambus, you are going to say, my traditional is Bambus, but I don't know it. But that doesn't mean you don't have a tradition. You have a tradition, and you have a culture, and that is your culture. That's what, it doesn't get defined whether you know it or you don't know it. The fact remains the roots where you are based, and that's the fact.
And I think you're right there. And I think something like, oh, but one Namibia, one nation. So we're saying, no, I'm a Herero, so when I go away, I must always be embrace cultural exchange. Doesn't matter where you're from. You grew up in Kitmans.
Let's not become a tribe thing so much. We are mostly
Embrace
talking
cultural
about external forces like your Europeans or whatever. But if I embrace the Novambo culture, I embrace the Damara culture.
It doesn't mean like what they say.
But what if I like the Herero culture more than the Bambu culture? Then I should wear my Herero dress and talk Herero.
I say there, now we are putting it too much in general. That's why we are running away from the emotion. Yeah.
Now you are saying me Bambu.
So someone bring that in.
I didn't want to put it in general.
I was about to bring that in, ma'am.
Because if I put it in general, then we are totally out.
Yes, let's
because that globalization thing,
we are talking about global
on urbanization. They talked about the movement of people whatsoever, and that's where you bought in. You when you moved or you were born where you don't know
raised
else.
where how.
And then the point is
okay that you bring it up so that
your roots.
understand.
That's what defines you. Yeah,
You know why I was saying that
even if you
Is
don't
Stephen
know.
going to
because
speak next.
you know why I was
Yes,
saying that
fine.
again. You mentioned
I
of
feel like
technology.
this is how it's supposed to go.
No, that one-
This one
Yeah.
talking
Find it
and
as a
then we wait
different
and then-
segment just to
Yes,
rebate.
yeah.
And then I
Because-
drop it and then I come to the...
Because when you
this is
mention of
more
technology,
natural
I'm
then,
like,
but the
okay,
problem is,
we are looking at
Yes.
technology and as Namibia as a nation. That's where we can have cultural exchange. Look, the world is modernizing. So as we say, no, we're not going to be using technology because actually it's from the West or whatever. We're actually putting ourselves at a disadvantage as a country because we need to embrace it, even though whatever. That's what I was
And
going to say.
in that way, do you
That
think they are stealing from you? Do you
they
think
won't,
they are...
won't be
they are-
stealing from me because an exchange, not like you're stealing something from
Now
me.
relate it.
But they didn't even force you to adopt to their culture. It's you that is following it yourself.
Guys, directly.
Like for
Relate it
instance,
directly.
for instance,
Okay,
for
okay,
instance,
Technological
For instance.
influencing
guys, for
the
instance,
change in culture, yes or no? And
Yes.
those are your reasons. Now you are neutral.
but for instance,
Yeah.
guys, look at me.
Stephen?
I schooled in the south.
You
The
are
school that I
neutral,
went.
and me, I was for a no or for a yes.
For instance, guys, like for me, I schooled in the south, right?
Okay.
But I'm from the north. The school that I went, most of my languages were in Afrikaans. But I still embrace it because I like the way the culture behave and all those stuff, the way they dress and all. And I adapt and I liked it.
But then we cannot say now you've lost your culture.
Yeah, I didn't lose my culture.
That's what you guys are trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Exchange. That's what you're
Basically a
saying.
cultural exchange.
I
That's
didn't
why-
lose my culture.
They were not able to define themselves who they are.
That's-
They are
No,
To emphasize Guys, what that-
about the language sometimes it's for you to understand.
One
your-
another.
Yes, because you cannot be speaking Bambu when some people that are there are not even Bambus.
Okay,
Just for us,
Listen,
just for us
listen.
to relate.
Can we guys define
Okay.
culture and tradition?
Yeah, I wanted to
now?
say that because you guys
If we
are
define
confusing
it,
culture
is just an
with a
umbrella.
tradition.
Yeah.
If we define culture and tradition, it's totally different, and
Thank
it
you.
will give
Thank
us
you.
guidance on what.
Thank
on
you.
Let's
what-
say for this, when you speak of culture,
Thank
what
you.
are we looking at? We're looking at the language, right?
The
That
way
is
you
part of
dress,
your
the
culture.
dress
The way
code.
you dress,
Yes,
that
the
is part of
behaviors.
culture. Right. Traditional, now we're looking at the laws, people that you are abiding within the culture.
Yes.
You
Are we
did a-
agreeing on that?
No, I'm not agreeing.
You
I'm
listen,
That's
you
where the
see,
point
you
is.
see.
What
not
do you
agreeing on
mean?
that.
What is the tradition?
not agreeing because you are saying culture. It what includes the language.
The
Your
language,
roots.
yes.
The
Wait.
languages
Wait.
are under tradition.
Let me give him an example. Wait, example for example. For example, guys. Hello, hold on.
Unnecessary debate.
For example, guys. Cultural festival.
if I'm wrong-
Wait,
if I'm wrong, I'll accept it.
listen. For example, we have cultural festival coming up. Why are you wearing a traditional attire if it's cultural? It's the same.
Wait, let me look for what
Okay,
define
guys,
what I was
like, let's
Yeah, but what Trimo said,
Languages
I believe what
fall
Trimo
under
said.
It's just the same thing.
Language doesn't fall under tradition. For example, look,
language.
Go wherever you wanna go.
Yeah.
Bring a phone, let's Google.
everything. But to be honest,
Phone is right here.
tradition, each town have its own tradition, not a culture, but the own tradition. Like in Windu, you will find the Latwizis. That's a tradition. That's not a culture. It's a
It's not a culture,
tradition.
tradition.
A culture is where your roots where you come from.
Your customs, whatever,
Yes.
they are all under culture. But tradition
Thank
now, I
you.
took out the laws that in our tradition, we do this.
Tradition is something you
But we are able to
practice.
define it, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's what I was saying.
Okay, fine. I know. I just proved myself wrong then.
Yeah, I like the fact that you are going to.
Guys, where are the phones?
Okay,
The chat
guys.
GDP guys.
Guys.
I was.
Bring the
Wait.
phones, ChatGPT, what difference between culture and tradition?
Let's do that after.
Let's go now.
I think we've discussed and we've
Wait,
shared a
go
lot
on.
today.
Talk to Shandiki live.
Hey, Meta, I want to go
We
to
have discussed and
I hate
shared
this
a
thing on
lot
my
of
screen,
our
but
perspective and our views on this topic. It's a very interesting topic. Okay. That was very, very hectic, guys. Anyways, culture is more than tradition. It's our identity, our rhythm, our roots. But the world's changing and we've got to figure out how to change with it without losing who we are, because it's about who you are inside. Thanks to our amazing guests, and thank you for vibing with us. This is the talk space where culture meets conversation.